Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Massler-Donar. Right now, there is uncertainty surrounding the job of the Wisconsin Election Commission's administrator. The Senate voted to fire Meagan Wolfe, who carries out directives from the 6-member bipartisan commission. Attorney General Josh Kaul filed a lawsuit asking a judge to declare that Wolfe lawfully holds the job. He argues there was no appointment before the Senate because the commission did not pass a motion to reappoint Wolfe to the position. Here now to respond is Meagan Wolfe. Thanks for taking the time to join me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
As of now, are you still able to do your job?
Yes, I act at the direction and at the will of the 6-member bipartisan commission. So as the administrator of the Elections Commission, I will continue to work with the commissioners. They have their meetings in a public setting where they deliberate decisions and make a decision based on a majority bipartisan vote of the commission. So that's going to continue as planned, and I'll continue to implement their directives and to serve at their will.
So many people wanted you fired that it forced the hand of the Senate. How do you process something like that?
Well, there's also many people that are supportive of how we run elections here in the state of Wisconsin, namely our local election officials. I think what you saw was a very small but vocal minority. And I think it's really unfortunate that that small group, even though they're held, and in some ways I can sympathize with those individuals, the unfortunate part is their narrative has been something where it's been researched. We've had recounts, we've had audits, we've had court decisions that have affirmed our election was run well and that those conspiracies were not true. And the really unfortunate thing is that those still seem to be driving decisions by some of our lawmakers almost 3 years later.
Your job is to implement the directives that are, given to you by members of the commission. Do you feel that you are a scapegoat in a sense within this?
Yes, absolutely. I think that sometimes people, especially political people, they want an easy answer when they have pressure from constituents, when they have pressure from these individuals that still have these understandings that have been disproven. They want an easy answer. And so I think, being I am the administrator, I am the one that is often talking on behalf of the commission, representing the decisions that they made, that I do get blamed for things that people don't like that the commission has done. I think we should take a look at the commission model and recognize that these are bipartisan decisions made by the 6 commissioners. And the 6 commissioners, they're appointed by our legislative leadership, right? They're appointees of the legislative leadership. And the commissioners, they're operating as required by law. And that law has been, of course, developed and passed by our legislators as well. And so when people are upset with me, that's really misdirected because I'm not the one that is making those decisions. I don't have a vote on the commission. My job is to implement their directives. And so I've yet to see any claims that rightfully attribute things to me that some of these decisions are being based on.
You have said all 6 commissioners have expressed confidence in your work. Do you think that the Republicans on the commission should have pushed harder on your behalf to the rest of the legislature, which then the Senate did vote along party lines to fire you? So the Republicans voted to fire you. Do you think the Republicans on the commission could have advocated on your behalf better?
That's an interesting question. But that being said, I think that the commissioners, that they did what was required by them by law. So the commissioner's role is to consider this question before them and to make a decision with their other fellow commissioners. I think where we ran into some real challenges here is that I am the first one in a position like this, an appointed position that is subject to the advice and consent, the confirmation of the Senate. I'm the first official to go through this process since the Prane ruling by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And so the commission, they did not disagree on whether or not I should be their administrator, on whether or not I do a good job implementing their directives. Where they disagreed was on the procedure of how we should get there because we do not have clarity on that. And so I think that's why we're all grateful that we're going to be getting that clarity from a court. And I look forward to having that clarity so that we can move ahead. So I don't think that the commission disagrees on the path forward, on that elections are run well here in the state of Wisconsin. I think we're just in this unfortunate spot where we had to be the first ones that have to figure out how this court decision gets implemented. And now we need that additional clarity to see exactly how that law that was set by the state of Wisconsin Supreme Court in the Prane decision applies to this position.
And how do you think this uncertainty playing out right now as the legal process goes forward is going to affect elections in Wisconsin?
So that is the difficult part, that this is playing out during a really critical time in the election cycle. So the election cycle really formally kicks off on December 1st for the 2024 election cycle. That's when nomination papers start to be circulated for our spring elections. And so we really don't have any time to spare. And so my hope is that we get clarity from the courts as soon as possible so that whatever the outcome is, whatever the final decision is, I will respect that. But we need that clarity so that we know how to move forward and we can refocus all of our attention on making sure that our local election officials are prepared as we head into next year.
Meagan Wolfe, thank you so much for the time this morning.